Okay, everybody, we are tuned in with Down Lopez, and this is KP with I Write. And we got another exclusive interview. I've actually interviewed this gentleman before. It went very, very well. Got a lot of exposure, a lot of great feedback. So we are glad to have him back with us. So, Down Lopez, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing excellent. How about yourself?
I'm doing wonderful. Glad to be spending some time with you.
Anytime.
So we're just gonna dive into the interview. So tell us who Down Lopez is and what downlopez.com is about.
Who Down Lopez is, man? I'm just a guy who loves underground music, man. I definitely want to see underground music and underground musicians understand what it is they're trying to do and actually see the success that they want. And downlopez.com is pretty much my means of making it happen. Like, I try to showcase a new artist, at least one every week, that dropped maybe the best mixtape all week that was sponsored on that piff, man. And pretty much that's it, man. We definitely trying to do the work of the people to bring the people to the forefront instead of these multinational corporations that's holding music back.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for you indie and unsigned artists and musicians out there, it definitely is a credible review. That's actually how I came across this young gentleman. I was doing PR for an artist, and there was a release done through DatPiff, and just doing public relations and being associated with the media of your client, I came across a review that Down Lopez did, and it was very detailed. It wasn't one of those reviews to where, hey, I'm just gonna say what I think the artist wants to hear, or I'm gonna say what I think the audience needs to hear. He actually truly listens to the music. He listens to the beat selection. He listens to the vernacular. He really does a very, very powerful critique, and it's true feedback. He really knows hip hop. So with that being said, Dan Lopez, give us some insight on what inspires you to critique and give artists feedback. Why are you so passionate about it? Why do you take time out of your day to truly listen to these artists' work and give suggestions or thoughts on their product?
Wow. And the reason why I do what I do like that, man, is because I was once terrible as well. I did not know what I was doing. I wish I had somebody who would sit me down years ago and tell me, you are going the complete wrong way. This is going to take you years and years in order to get anywhere, but I didn't have that. I had to learn the hard way. And I pretty much wanted to take the knowledge that I've gained over these years and give it back instead of holding on to it for no reason.
Okay. And I'm inspired by that because, a lot of times the answer is because I get paid to do that, or, I'm told that if I do this, my followers will increase, things like that. It's more so like a personal gain. But for you to say, hey, I was in your shoes once, I didn't have the guidance. So now I'm going to turn it around so that you can have the guidance and grow. That's inspiring. It really is. Uh,
I mean, see, and that's the thing, man. People are so focused on money and getting the total amount of subscribers that they trying to get, man. When all of that is really pointless. Like, the money is going to come if you do what you want to do and do it well. So that shouldn't be your main focus, your main priority at all. The money is secondary.
Absolutely.
And the amount of subscribers, that's all relative because there's a lot of people out there that's buying subscribers and doing a whole bunch of things to build their subscriber list, but yet when they drop something, they don't get any views. They get no love from it because they focus so hard on upping these numbers instead of actually talking and communicating with the people.
Exactly. I totally agree with you on that. My journalism and also promotions mentor, Q the Question, he's out of Philly, and he says that all the time that, a lot of times when you're paying for these different packages, these are not people who are choosing to like your Facebook page. These are not people who are choosing to follow you. So when you drop a project, it's still not going anywhere because nobody is checking for you. You actually have paid for them to check for you. So you still not getting anywhere. And he's one of the people, he follows you on Twitter. We discussed the tips and things that you share. And he's also said that, it is about getting out there, doing the footwork. You can pay for all of this web promotion, but if nobody knows who you are in the street, then you're not doing something right. And it's obvious. So, I'm glad that you.
I mean, that is definitely real talk. You gotta look at it like all of these guys in the club who got all this ice on and pretending like they're millionaires and such, but then you see them in real life working at the gas station. That's pretty much how hip hop has kind of become, because all of these dudes are stunting with all of the followers and stuff that they paid to get, but yet they really don't have any movement. And what exactly does that get you?
Exactly. That's very true. Another thing that you do, I have to just be honest. I'm on Twitter every day. Now, I may not actively tweet every day, but I'm on Twitter every day, and it's certain people that I'm checking to see what they have going on. That is a cuter question, a down Lopaz, this is 50 just to see what he's got going on in media. There's people that I'm going to see just to see what they have going on, and you're one of those people. And one of the things I enjoy about you is you may say, how your day is going every once in a while, but every day you're giving strategic advice to an artist. There is, to me, in my personal opinion, there is no excuse if an underground artist follow you to where their career should not be in a different position. Because you really give tips that a person working minimum wage can use to elevate their career. I think a lot of people get it twisted to where if I don't have $10,000 in the bank to drop on a project or to go towards my career, I won't see any movement. And your tips are clear. Hey, are you writing more? Are you studying the craft more? Those are things that are free. Are you checking to see what this past artist was doing 2 years ago and where they are today? So I just wanted you to touch on that. What makes you, even if you're not doing an interview or if you're not doing a critique on an album, what makes you every day go to Twitter to help people elevate their craft, especially those who are the working artists, are the hungry but not starving artists, as if you will? What makes you reach out to them and say, hey, if you just do these 5 steps over the next 4 to 6 weeks, you'll be in a different position?
I love using Twitter in that aspect. Like, pretty much I can tell people everything that they need to be told very quickly, and it goes directly to them. Now, the reason why I do this, and particularly like this, is because really I love to talk that advice, and it's telling these people things that they do not actually know. Like I was once one of those guys who was like, if we just had $10,000, $20,000, then I could actually make this happen. But then I actually started seeing people in my family who actually have money, that's investing money in rappers, that invested bigger money than I would ever have and still get nowhere. Like, how could that be possible? And I sat down and I analyzed the game from there. And I realized that money is not really what it is. Money is just something to get you to the end point a little bit faster, while the hard work and the work ethic is pretty much the main thing that you need to focus on. Right. Now, Twitter is just another means of me getting the message out there. Like, I would use anything that I can possibly get my hands on to reach different people. And Twitter just happens to be like the easiest way to get in contact with others. Like, there's so many people out there who think they too cool to have a Twitter, when it's pretty much an email that you can get instantly, that everyone checks very quickly, and it's a great way to build up your own fan base and build up your own people to actually enjoy your content. Like, people are really slipping by not having a Twitter. If I answered your question, then I'm not.
Oh yeah.
I went to the left a little bit.
No. Because I actually love the way you said that. That it's like an instant email. And what I like about it is, even if you're occupied, if you are that artist that still has to go to work every day and you don't have, an investment team behind you financially and you have to support your livelihood, if there's something that you miss during work hours, you can just go to your specific Twitter and see what all you have tweeted throughout the day. You don't have to be on there at a certain time frame to get a certain amount of knowledge. So in my opinion, there is no excuse to not use the tools and the resources you have found through Twitter. So I definitely agree with you, and I like the way that you described that. And that's a very strong point. Now, another thing I wanted to ask you about is right through here, we're seeing a lot of artists who are focused on being independent. Yo Gotti is one who has been very successful, just pretty much backing himself. And on a recent interview I saw with him on the Breakfast Club, he mentioned that he's not seeking a label. He's not seeking a label deal. He's doing well just, being independent. Now, with that being said, things have really changed from the way things were back in the 80s and 90s. So how do you feel about the position of A&Rs in this day and time? Do you feel like they're even worth still approaching, or an independent artist is still worth reaching out to them? Or do you feel independent artists should really focus on building their own brands and seeing where that can take them to where it could be a label bidding war or to where they could get a distribution deal? How do you feel about that?
Well, to answer your question completely blunt, no, they are not worth chasing after and trying to talk to. It's really pointless. Because, first of all, if you're going to get the attention, most of the times they have to come to you.
Right.
The only way they're going to come to you is if you're already in the streets doing what you need to do. Like, it's really backwards how the game works. They'll come to you when you don't need them. But yet when you do need them, they're going to give you the cold shoulder.
Right.
So why would you even deal with these people at all is the question. So honestly, I recommend people to always build yourself up on the underground and build up your own fan base and then see what comes back to you. And independent is definitely the way to go, because you're starting to look at guys right now getting gold selling albums. And honestly, like, you look at Macklemore right now, this guy, I don't even enjoy his music, but I see him on the charts selling more than major label artists. Like, right now, from the last I remember, he reached 720,000 sales for this last album, and he's doing it straight up independent. Mac Miller, straight up independent, sold gold, 500,000 for his last project. These numbers were once impossible, especially in the 80s and 90s for independent artists. But the way that internet has changed the entire industry, you have no excuse. You can do everything that these industry dudes can do at home on your computer if you have the work ethic to do it. You don't even need to be good. Like, people have built up their own careers and they don't really have any talent. They just have a mental capacity on how to do the work, and they have the work ethic to actually make it and see it through. And these are things that people just don't understand. People need to free their minds from the record labels, because they're doing nothing but holding you back until you can actually come to them until they actually come to you with a 50-50 joint venture deal and not a 360 deal. That's really the only time you should deal with them. Besides that, you can do everything yourself.
Right. No, I totally agree, and I feel like it's important to have that mentality, because I can't think of the name of it, but I was watching a documentary on Netflix, and one of the executives at Def Jam, I believe, it was a female, and she was saying how you don't want it to be where when you come into my office, I want to serve you hot dogs and chips. She said, you want to come into my office and I have the mentality, okay, I got to get you the finest steak. I got to get you potatoes. I got to get you wine and champagne because I know if I don't treat you right, you're going to leave my office and go to Universal. You're going to go to Atlantic. You're going to go somewhere else and they're going to treat you better. And that, when I heard her say that, that put me in the mind frame of these people in these executive offices want to see a product to where they have to come out of their comfort zone of appeasing you, not, telling you, hey, have a nice day, thank you for coming by, because they want to have, the next great artist to introduce to, the industry. So when I heard her say that, it was like, if you have that type of mentality to show yourself, show your work ethic, and show yourself approved of the industry dollars, then if you can do that by yourself, you can do it by yourself all the way to the top. So that's why I wanted to get your feedback on that. So I do respect your answer and I appreciate that so much. Um, Another thing that I saw you doing on Twitter last week is you were trying to reach out to Q of WorldStar. WorldStar has a huge presence in the industry. A lot of people go there before they go to YouTube to look for videos. A lot of people go there for news before they go to MTV.com or VH1.com or BET.com just to see what's going on in the industry. And I know you were reaching out to try to form some sort of partnership to help. Let me just interrupt and say this. The thing I like the most about your approach with that is that you were looking to enhance hip hop. You were looking to, since you knew so many people were going to that site, you were looking as that as an avenue to give more exposure to the knowledge that you have. So I just want to say I applaud you for that within itself. But going back to the question, you were looking to form a partnership with him. And I just wanted to ask you, how did that go and what was the outcome and how are you able to discuss, how that went and if you'll be able to move forward with that?
Well, that was very interesting. And I got to thank all of the people out there that supported me on that one, man. I knew we had the power to do it, but actually seeing it happen was completely different. It really took me back. I love the people for doing that for me. Now, basically, the whole premise of the idea of the partnership was to pretty much have him bring back WorldStarTapes.com. And then with me being a mixtape reviewer and with WorldStar Hip Hop being the main site, we could cross various forms of promotion and put out the most independent artists and actually capture and evolve the underground mixtape scene to the point that his business would actually see the most off of it.
Right.
And I felt it was a strong plan, and the people stood and rallied behind me, and we actually got in contact with him, and I sent him a message. He replied back to me, and overall it's not going to happen because he feels as though it's too risky to go back into the mixtape avenue. Like when WorldStar Tapes didn't happen, when it didn't go right the first time, he kind of just washed his hands with it and moved on, and he's good with just videos on WorldStar Hip Hop. And I'm not mad at that. I mean, he knows his business in and out, and he decided what he wanted to do, and that's how he's going to go about it.
Absolutely.
And overall, though, I still feel as though it's a victory for the underground because we showed that we can band together and actually approach these people. Because, it's very difficult to get a simple conversation out of these people, let alone like a reply on Twitter when most of these people don't even run their own Twitter.
Right.
But the fact that we were able to get that, it just motivates me more in order to move on to what's next. And I definitely do have some things on the way. Hopefully I can get it jumping by Monday. I'm not trying to go into too many details to jinx it right now, but I'm sure people will see it.
Okay. Well, again, I applaud your efforts because I remember, first it was a campaign of you just getting people to get behind you on reaching out to him. And, I saw what you were doing and I was one of those people. And I really liked how it was organized. You didn't just jump at him and, oh, y'all join me. It was no, hey, I need you to, send this message at this particular time so that we can get his attention. So it worked. And it does show that a unified gesture can get you a long way. At the same time, Q has been very successful with World Star, and like you said, he knows his business and he knows what he wants to do with his company, and I respect that as well. But you just never know. He may be in a boardroom meeting with someone that has an idea, and he think about the conversation that you guys had, and then that could spark something else. So just your courage to reach out to him is you deserve a kudos for that, and you just never know where it could go. So I appreciate you sharing that with us and the outcome of that. Now, right now, there's a lot of artists out there that are getting heavy media and heavy exposure mainstream. And then there's artists that have a true fan base in the underground market and who are coming to be known. One of the people that I kind of follow is Tito Lopaz, seeing his career go to a different level from underground to mainstream. And there's a lot of people who were J. Cole fans when he was just doing the mixtape thing before he got signed. And then now you see him more in the mainstream. So I just wanted to ask you, who right now is your mainstream pick artist and your indie pick artist that you like, just based off of lyrical content, stage presence, their ethics as an MC, and why are those your choices right now?
Oh man, I got to say, underground right now, guy doing real big things, man. Guy named GT Garza from Texas.
Okay.
He is really phenomenal underground artist, and honestly, I pick him to be the number one option to Double XL next year. Like this year's Double XL list, I was able to predict that Logic would make this list last year at the same time. And GT Garza is my pick to make Double XL list this year. Like, not only he lyrically, he's not as strong as many out there, but yet he still has punchlines, but then he has the promotion, and then he has the grind and work ethic, and then he has some good music. And then, you know how Houston, Texas people, they stick together.
Oh,
which that's where he's from, Houston.
Oh, yes.
And he pretty much is getting support from Houston to continue to do his thing, man. I definitely see bright things in the future for him.
Right. That's very true. And well, before I say what I was about to say, what's your mainstream?
I wanted to give you like my mainstream as well.
Yeah.
Well, sort of mainstream, I guess. Like, he's signed to a label. He just dropped his album. Have you heard of Rich from Georgia, Atlanta?
No, I haven't heard of him.
He actually just dropped an album called The Life and Times of Johnny Valiant. Now, I mean, he signed to an independent label, but yet it's like one of the bigger independent music labels out there. It's called Strange Music.
Okay.
His album is actually a classic. It's like, I don't throw around classic very much. Like, I may have only said that once in the last 2 years besides this album right here. It is that good.
Oh, wow.
He has incredible flow.
Okay.
He got good lyrics. He got concepts. And then the fact that he gets very interpersonal with his lyrics and with his fans is really amazing. That's another guy that people should definitely check out.
Right. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna have to check out those artists as well. definitely. Now, I just wanted to chime in on that, Houston artists staying together, because I'm actually in Dallas, Texas. And I'm originally from Memphis, but I live in Dallas right now. I've been here since '05. And that's honestly one of the things I have to say, that, Houston, they endorse each other. They, when you see videos, they make cameo shots for each other. They really do stick together. And I remember when Kurt Cobain was on his, underground tour, and he was coming up, and I actually got a chance to meet him. And he just had just this high energy. He was positive, and when you talk to him about what he was doing, he was mentioning what other artists in Houston were doing, and it meant something to him that Bun B was proud of him. It meant something to him that Bun B was pretty much, kind of passing the torch to him in the industry. And I'm glad that, and I see that just being here. But for you to not be from here and see that, and it's like a universal thing that Houston artists stick together. So I'm glad that you brought that up as well, because it is true, and you can feel it when you're here. So yeah, that's a very strong statement there. Another thing that's been going on in the industry, I wanted to get your thoughts on, is just the accountability as far as lyrics are concerned. Now, me being from Memphis, I grew up around 3-6 Mafia. I grew up around just, hardcore lyrics, to where I remember as a child, my mom was like, you can't listen to that, because it was so raw. I feel like all artists, as an adult now, all artists should have the ability to express themselves, but there were some artists that I couldn't listen to as a child, and because their lyrics were explicit. Now, I wanted to ask you, since that's been going on for years, because it has been, with your, Easy E's, with your Too Shorts, just, with your Biggies, there's just been explicit lyrics all the time. How do you feel about now, with the whole controversy with Rick Ross and the rape lyric, and then Lil Wayne and the Emmett Till lyric, and people losing endorsements, and being highlighted in a negative light because of their lyrics? Do you feel like, okay, we're doing this too late, or do you feel like people are seeing how effective rap is, as far as taking over endorsements and being in fashion, and even having film features and documentaries, that now we want to do something about it? Or do you feel like everything that's happened, it should have happened that way? Like, what are your thoughts on it?
My thoughts of it is, first of all, as musicians and as people of the United States, we have freedom of speech.
Right.
We should not be targeted like this by any organization for the things that we say, right or wrong. Like, I'm not going to say that the lyrics that Lil Wayne had towards Emmett Till were right, but I do stand behind the fact that he has the right to say them.
Right.
Now, there's definitely consequences for this, right? Like, he definitely should have came out and apologized. He should have actually went directly to them and apologized to them immediately, instead of pretty much half-assed doing an apology in the media, and then really it didn't save him at all. And then Rick Ross, rape lyrics, those were completely wrong. He can't stand behind that at all. But yet and still, it's not like he hasn't said anything worse than that over his career.
Right.
He raps about murder and dealing drugs, in which he never lived. So how can people really be upset at him about these lyrics as well?
Right.
Now, but the whole thing about these corporations, these people going after the corporations and such to drop them from their endorsements, it's all just a form of control that the media and the people are trying to apply to hip-hop, in which hip-hop has never been able to have been controlled for previous generations, man. And people are so whipped on getting this money that they want, that they'll bow down to any wishes of any corporation, kind of. And these corporations really don't care. As soon as you start showing, as soon as your name messes up the brand, they're going to drop you. So people really need, like, rappers in general need to really quit focusing on getting money. Like, the day and age of getting money, the big numbers out of rap, isn't really what it once was. If people were to get back focused just on the music and have the game actually go back underground, which I do see happening, like there's many articles coming out and many things that people can see that the industry, the mainstream industry, is going to collapse in about 20 years. Like, I'm not making this up. Manny Fresh actually came out and said this himself. Simply because of the success of independence and the faults and the bad moves that they've been making on their own. Like, but overall, rappers need to quit being whipped by these people who's giving them money and do what you want to do. And if you get paid for it in millions and get those endorsements, that's fine. But losing them shouldn't be a big deal, man, because once you get that success, once you have the heart of the people, then you're going to be fine either which way you go. You just can't sell yourself out for it.
Right. That's true. Very well stated. And I agree. I just felt like, on a personal, tip, I just feel like artists in general, they should be able to express themselves. I mean, the booth, the studio is their canvas for them to paint what they want to paint. And they've painted things a lot more vulgar than these past things. I just felt like people are taking advantage of the fact that, oh, I can get on social media and create this, and this, and, create this energy towards the corporations to just really show what type of control the masses can have. But at the end of the day, I do feel like, people have to be accountable for what they say as well. So it goes both ways. But I'm just not going to say that I feel like the way everything has gone has been fair. But that's just my personal opinion. And I know a lot of people disagree with me. A lot of women regarding the Rick Ross lyric really disagreed with me.
You seen that video where they was chatting the lyrics while performing?
No, I didn't see that.
Like, it was a bit far. Like, it was actually on Worldstar, in which, Worldstar posts up a lot of ignorance, and this was like one of those that like took the cake. Like, so Future was performing the song, and he pretty much stopped and put the mic into the crowd, and you see a whole bunch of women chanting out the date rape lyrics by Rick Ross. Wow. And then he's pretty much saying how Reebok should see this and how people are loving it. I'm like, that's too far.
Yeah, I'm just a firm believer. Just like, before all of this happened, you never heard, like, you made a very, very, very intricate point when you said, he's rapped about drug dealing and killing, something that he's never done. So it was an art form. It was ability for him to tell a story about things that happen in life, but that doesn't mean that he partakes in them. Same thing with this lyric, just because he said that doesn't mean that he participates in that. And I just know from the things that I've seen and the way, the energy that he carries himself, and I know people who actually work with him on his team that have said that he's a gentleman, he's a pleasure to work with, and I just don't feel like, he should be labeled as this bad guy because he told a story in a lyric. There's filmmakers, there's writers, there's screenwriters, there's novelists who tell stories and create characters, but by no means should those people be labeled as the type of characters that they've created. Shonda Rhimes, the creator of Scandal, says all the time, I make up things for a living. Don't tweet me you're crazy. I think that's even in her bio, but she even tweets that, like, just because I came up with this and it's fictional, don't come at me like this is who I am. So I feel like artists should be entitled to the same type of energy. But I really am glad that that you and I share that thought on it, because I did see a lot of controversy about it, and I felt like it got to the point where people who disagreed with the masses were even being blackballed because they chose to, feel a certain way or feel compassion for the artist. So thank you for that. Well, I definitely, Dan Lopaz, I thank you for your time today. I felt like we had a very, very, very positive, objective, and even subjective interview. And I just want you to tell the people of any upcoming projects or ideas you have going on, and where can we find you online?
You guys can definitely find me at downlopaz.com. DOWNLOPAZ.com. I almost forgot my own name. You can also, pretty much, if you Google Download Pass, you're going to find me everywhere. Like, no one else has that name, but you can find me on YouTube, you can find me on Twitter, find me in a lot of different places.
Okay, well, I'm definitely appreciative again for your time today, and to my I Write family, thank you for tuning in, and we will talk to you soon.
Yes,